For nearly half a century, the United States and the Soviet Union were locked in a titan struggle, a global chess match where the stakes were nothing less than the survival of civilization itself. We were told that the winner would be decided by who had the fastest missiles, the most silent submarines, or the largest stockpile of nuclear warheads capable of turning cities into ash. But as the 1980s drew to a close, the final blow to the Iron Curtain didn't come from a battlefield in Europe or a secret laboratory in Los Alamos. It came from the shining, neon-lit aisles of a suburban supermarket in Houston, Texas. To the American citizen, it was just a place to buy milk and eggs on a Tuesday evening, but to the highest-ranking officials of the Soviet Union, it was a terrifying display of a technological and economic superiority so vast that it made their entire empire look like a medieval relic. In September of 1989, Boris Yeltsin, a man who had spent his entire life climbing the brutal, gray ladder of the Communist Party, found himself in the heart of the American South. The Kremlin's propaganda machine had spent billions of rubles convincing men like him that the United States was a hollow shell, a nation of red lines, desperate poverty, hidden behind a thin veil of Hollywood magic. But as Yeltsin's motorcade made an unscheduled, frantic stop at a Randall supermarket, the veil didn't just tear, it evaporated. He walked into a world of impossible abundance, where the average Texan worker had access to more fresh fruit, more varieties of meat, and more consumer choice than the most powerful czars in Russian history. The cameras caught the moment his eyes glazed over in a mixture of awe and absolute despair, realizing that the capitalist hellscape he had been taught to hate was, in reality, a paradise of efficiency that his country could not replicate in 1,000 years. The true weight of this encounter lies in the psychological collapse of the Soviet dream. Yeltsin didn't just look at the shelves, he interrogated the reality before him, suspecting that the CIA had spent months building a fake store and hiring actors to pretend to be shoppers, all to trick him. He demanded to see the stockrooms. He checked the dates on the packages, and he watched in silence as ordinary American families filled their carts with a casualness that was offensive to a man whose people spent half their lives waiting in line for a single kilo of sugar. He saw the Jell-O puddings, the rows of frozen dinners, and the vibrant colors of produce from every corner of the globe, and he understood that the Cold War wasn't a stalemate. America hadn't just won the arms race, it had won the race for the human soul by proving that a free people, driven by the desire to build and innovate for themselves, would always outproduce a nation of slaves driven by the whip of the state. As his plane ascended back into the sky, leaving the Texas sun behind, Yeltsin sat in a heavy, mournful silence that would eventually dictate the fate of the world. He later confessed to his closest advisors that at that moment, he felt sick for the Soviet people, knowing that every sacrifice they had made since the revolution had been for a system that couldn't even provide its citizens with a decent selection of soap. This wasn't just a shopping trip, it was the funeral of an ideology. 2 years later, the Soviet flag was lowered for the last time, not because of a military defeat, but because the truth of American prosperity had finally breached the walls of the Kremlin. This is the legacy of the American dream, a force so potent that a single grocery store did what 10,000 tanks could never do. It forced an empire to its knees and proved once and for all that the light of liberty will always expose the shadows of tyranny.